If you've been around my channel for a while, you know that I've built up a lovely little group of race cars that I made from in-game lore-based vehicles, and I was doing a bit of research because my favorite category is these, the Group 5s. But Group 5 was around for a very short amount of time, and the Americans, they kind of picked up the mantle a little bit. Oh, but it's all over the place. I was looking through this and it was a real, how do I say, pain in the butt. Like there's GTO, TO and TU too that I hadn't looked into. I first started looking at GTU, but then I realized that it was dominated by a car made in the 60s, winning in like the 80s and 90s. Like, what? How does that make sense? The main reason I was looking at this is because the Ford Mustang GTP was basically a Ford Zack Speed Capri, I think it was called. I like the idea of having like a small engine and just like saying, yeah, it's a Mustang, just completely removing the V8 and then having like a very small inline 4-cylinder making all the power. It was funny to me. So in my search for a future car to work on, that brought me to the Wendover, a car which I have really left untouched quite a bit because it's a bit boring, and if we have a look at the weight, it's also a bit heavy. And whilst looking at this, I realized another thing is it's not actually a front engine rear wheel drive like normal, it's a front engine front wheel drive, but also with an all wheel drive thing. And then that clicked. Why would I have just a rear wheel drive? We're gonna have all wheel drive. And nobody really tried to compete with the Audi 90 GTR. Though technically a failure due to incompetent management of the team, this is actually a really good car, and nobody else competed with all-wheel drive. It was just them. So why don't I try to make a competitor, maybe? I think I have the skills to do that. Potentially. We'll see. Maybe. Probably not. So, let's start by getting rid of the other cars and making a new mod. But what do I call this mod? I'm thinking like the Wendover maybe partnered, well, I can't really do the cigarette company stuff because like they had legal requirements that they had to have Camel cigarettes all over their vehicles, but we can't do that. Marketing cigarette stuff is basically illegal here in Australia, if not like straight up illegal. I don't actually know the definitions of legal versus civil versus whatever sort of lawsuits or whatever. Maybe they partnered with a brake company, like Bendix. So we'll call this the Bendover. Sounds good to me. Huh. What on earth is up with this 3D? What the hell has happened? So I just got a little bit of help from E over on my Discord to run through and show me what his files looked like to make sure that it wasn't my Blender that was stuffed up. What we came to realize was that this must be like a different dev from like a different company that does things differently, where there's like an exploded view, but they left like the working files in. If we have a look at this, we've got like a windshield here, but it still exists over here if we select properly. So they've just taken that and then they've duplicated. When you duplicate something in Blender, it goes .001. So if we duplicate it again, it creates a .002. And then there's empties, something that is not used in BeamNG, but used in other games like Assetto Corsa and whatnot. There's a bunch of these empties which don't really do anything. Then there's something here which they've clearly forgotten to apply a mirror modifier to, stuff like that. Then they've got like a camera in here. I feel that this person might have been an Assetto Corsa modder. I'm not really sure. Then this, if we just move this around, you can see that the whole vehicle is there. So that exploded view is just like working files that they forgot to remove from the version that got delivered to people. And then there's just 3 cubes in the back here. They're for nothing. Literally, it's called Cube.001 because they duplicated it, and Cube.002 because they also duplicated it. If we have a look at it, there's nothing special there. So clearly this is like a learning sort of template one that they kind of didn't fully get the BeamNG modding stuff, or maybe they're implementing things that I have just never seen before in Blender in BeamNG. So it was a bit of a shock to start with, but I suppose we can clean it up and only work with what we need. So we don't need any of this stuff. Goodbye. And we don't need that. And you know what? We don't need the windshields because the windshields are all going to be the same. Don't need that. That's a little bit superfluous. There's a lot of stuff here we don't need. God, I'm having to go through so much effort just so that I can use my new sim rig just a little bit more because I really, really want to use that a lot more. Do you know what I also really want to use? My audience for more subscribers. Help me get to 100,000 before the end of the year. Please? Now, what rules am I allowed to go with? I'm very tempted to still go with GTU, but this is... I mean, it's fairly simple, it's fairly short, but it's still not the easiest to read. It's not like a light reading on a Sunday afternoon. Oh my god. They're talking about engine locations in relation to the spark plugs and the front axle. I mean, I get wanting to have like a smaller engine so you could have it further back. I already showed that in my long nose... God, I've already forgotten the name. I always forget the name of that vehicle. The Barstow. The long nose Barstow. It handles better if the engine is further back. So to keep prices down, they try to limit you from moving the engine too far backwards and then, like, basically creating a whole new car. Oh, here we've got some things. GTU can go up to 13.5. Okay, well, we'll have to take that into consideration when making the wide body kit. There's a lot to take into consideration here. Do I want to go GTU? I think not. Mostly because GTU isn't really a known one, GTO is, and I want to be able to make a good title and thumbnail. Maybe I'll make a GTO, GTU type of thing. Like a variation, I'm not sure. We'll see how it goes. All right, how do I modify this then? Does the body want to... So here's one thing that I've noticed on a lot of these race cars, and was also pointed out to me at a certain point as well. The wheels here are like much larger and go, like the fenders go up much higher than the baseline standard cars. You can see that this is a very low line for wheels and tires, and this is what you would normally see on a car. Even here, it's still relatively low compared to something like this. The Wendover, on the other hand, has a very high wheel line. But I think I can do a little bit of extra modifications if I can join these together to make a mono body sort of thing, to allow me to make a whole new section just to be lighter. So we'll start by joining, and then, oh, this is going to take some modification. For instance, I can go in and I can remove all of this because we don't need that. So I've gotten up to the widening part and I thought, you know what, I should probably check out the rules on widening to make sure that I'm doing this right. That's when I saw this. All visible external body panels, glass areas, and integrated bumpers must retain their standard production dimensions, shape, contour, and orientation. I'm sorry, but I don't think I ever saw an Audi like this on the road. So what rule is this? Fenders may be flared, covering at least 1/3 or their circumference of the tires, but rear fender flares may be vented. Wait, if it's that, this doesn't. I don't understand this at all. I think what I'm getting though is the vehicle can't be wider than 2 meters. All right, how far out can we go? Right about that. Scale that back in, and we just got to make sure that it doesn't go beyond that. Okay, there is our wide body Wendover. Wow, that is actually not much wider at all. Turns out that the Wendover is a thick boy to start with. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with all of the work that's been done to wide body design. It doesn't actually need to be a whole lot wider than the actual original vehicle. So we're just gonna go ahead, apply this. I do have the mirror UV unwrap applied. Perfect. Okay, so usually what I have to do is I have to apply the mirror, move a thing into the middle, flip it over. I didn't realize that this was a thing until somebody pointed out in the comments. Will I be able to find the comment? No, it's probably about 6 months ago, so I've already forgotten it. But it did stick in my memory, and learning 3D modeling still. Woo! There are only a few other things left to do, like making a new door. That's I only needed it applied to this mirror and not this mirror. That's probably going to be an issue. Oh well, and now we export. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove a bunch of these nodes that are in this collision mesh. The less nodes there are, the lighter it can be, basically. And we're going to hopefully make this a lot lighter because this needs to have its weight reduced by about a ton. And you can't change the main monocoque of the vehicle, but all the panels, you're allowed to do whatever you want. Hence why I made this a single clamshell, and now we're making a very, very simplistic collision mesh. There we go. It'll be a little bit more than that, but you get the idea. And with the file exported, I've gone ahead and given a little bit of drag and then a bunch of downforce in a hidden wing. So unfortunately, when it comes to BeamNG, things aren't fully realistic. I could have a plane underneath the vehicle, which in real life on its own would create downforce generally as a general gist there. But that's not how it works in BeamNG. So instead I put this like face in the middle here, and that's gonna generate the downforce. Now all I have to do is start making these parts selectable. I'm probably gonna have to create a new unibody entirely. At the moment there is only one, so it's not gonna get cluttered at least. So let's drag in the body, give it its own name, make sure they know who to blame, and there's a lot of things we have to get rid of. So fenders we can get rid of, side skirts we can get rid of, hood we'll hold on to for now because that's the one we're going to modify. Trunk fascia we can get rid of, front bumper we can get rid of. Now make sure that our nose cone is the part that gets called instead of... Wait, where'd it go? Ah, frick, I've lost it. That's fine, we'll write a new one. I mean, it's not like it's a particularly hard thing to do. We may also edit the glass nodes at some point to be a lot lighter as well and basically non-existent. Actually, you know what? I might be able to do that easily. Okay. I think it's time to see if this will work. First, Control L to give it a quick little refresh. And then, under Unibody, GTO Unibody. Perfect. Okay, well that didn't work out right. We have nose cone, Wendover nose cone. Wait, I didn't put in the flex body stuff, frick. Luckily we have example code right here. And that's the name of the stuff. Quick little refresh then, and... Come on, where is it? I mean, it's here, but it won't show up. Why it no show up? Wait, no, hold on, I just refreshed and it's working again. But it's not attached. That's something we're gonna have to figure out ourselves. It is kind of attached, but I think that's because it's technically within the body and it doesn't want to... When nodes and faces touch, things get weird. All right, time to break out good old node beam editor. We'll start off with the body, then bring in the nose cone. And now we're going to move on to an attachment section. Also, wait, how much does this weigh currently? We can see it's 1,500, basically. Let's compare that to the normal race version, 1,700. So we've lost about 200 kilos with just the nose cone. So that's a good start. Let's get these things attached to each other now. Has it worked? Has it worked? Good, okay. It is now fairly attached. Doors are next. They also have a lot of, nodes in the way. A lot of triangle stuff that we could probably do there. So, let's make our own doors. Though very simple, I think that does the trick. I mean, it is going to have a less great sort of like collision mesh, but there's kind of like a lot of extreme measures need to be taken here. I've also made it very simple. They're all in the same, the correct sides and whatnot. Now we just got to make it selectable from the door area. Call this lightweight doors. Now, where are the other doors? Oh, right there. Good. Don't need them. Oh boy, let's hope to God that this works first time round. Okay, well, the doors are there, but no flex body. Does it? Okay, yep, good. Hinges work and everything. Nice. Did I? Oh, you know what? Wrong name. Plop you in. Oh, it was just an underscore L, even if it is both sides of the doors. And hey, is this good? Okay. Everything's looking up Millhouse, and it... Okay, that's a problem. I'm gonna have to figure out a way to make this work. Maybe I do need to separate the flex bodies, because as this rotates, you can see that it's having like some major issues, and I think that is to do with the fact that the other side of the vehicle is not ready. Okay, you really don't want to open, do you? But as you can see, it does get really funky. Grab you, make your own thing, call you R. Now export, then make sure that this has its own group, and is that gonna fix the issue? Good, okay, well, it's not properly. Oh, why is it playing funny buggers? I gave the nodes their own group. Why do you hate me so much? Oh, yep, there we go. That was the problem. Now it'll work correctly. Perfect. And you can see that it doesn't get funky. Now we need to do is make it latch. We'll attach WL, which is meant to be Wendover lightweight door 4L, or L4. Yeah, we'll get there eventually. Give that a different name. And then we'll look at which ones we want to attach to. Something like Q7 and some F3s. And now it should be attached. Good. And I can't open it. Great. That is what we like to hear. Do I need to make this much lighter? What are we up to? We lost like less than 50, about 40 kilos we just lost then. Nothing. Oh, I found it. Minimum weight requirements. Like I think it's a 4.4, would put us into the category of 2,250 pounds, which is a little over a ton. That is going to be an easier number to reach. I could, however, pretend to stroke it out a little bit. We could maybe even get a little bit heavier. 2,700? 2,700. Only takes us up to 1,200. And I have so much weight that needs to be lost because we're at like 1,600. Wait, when did the weight come back? It's because I got the V8 in there. The V8 is so much heavier. God damn it. Wait, is that the V8? Yeah, that is the V8. God, poop. Wait. I have a technicality that we might be able to get away with. In a street legal vehicle must be retained. Alternative heavy-duty production blocks must be approved by IMSA. I could theoretically present an alloy block and then say, make it good, potentially. All right, let's have a look at the engines. Engine V8. The node weight for this engine, 40 kilograms. That's a number. All right, let's check out the V6s and the i4s. I wonder if I can tell. Nope, same material coloring.
A little later.
Okay. From 1442 to 1440. Okay, good. That is a lighter engine block. Thank goodness. Race ECU, stage 3 performance long block, and a race oil pan just because. And now the power it makes is looking to be about 400 horsepower. Great, that is extremely underperforming. Let's increase the RPM, see if that fixes the issue. Still only like less than 500 horsepower. That is not good news. Frick. I think I'm going to make my own intake manifold now. Now, I did make something like this a while ago. I put it in my minivan, right? Yes, I did. And as you can see, perfect. I mean, maybe there's too many of them. We'll figure it out. Okay, well, not quite as much as the Audi, but 630 versus 720, not the biggest difference. The biggest difference is that the fact that this thing is a big fat tub of lard. And I gave it like lots of like no low-end power, so it struggles. But then, lots of power at the top end. I feel that this thing doesn't rev high enough. Yeah, it only goes up to 6,800 RPM. That's disappointing. I feel that like a proper race ECU should let me go a little bit higher than that. ECU, race ECU. Great, call this the GTO ECU. Give it a much higher price because race parts. And this is the number we want to change. So let's put this up to like 9,800. Probably to the point where the thing will start destroying itself, but we'll give it a try. Perfect. I wonder if it will destroy itself, or it's even worth going up. Oh god, it drops off at 8,000? Alright, well 8,000 is what we'll leave it at then. Let's go put that nose cone back on and... I mean, what are we gonna do about this weight problem? The thing is still about 250 kilos over. And I don't even have the headlights in. God, I forgot about that. Oh well. Ah, yes. All that all-wheel drive goodness race car. This thing should have a lot more front downforce. Oh, okay. We're gonna need to attach those headlights better. We're also not getting as nearly as much front grip as what I would have hoped. I think we need a lot more front downforce. I wonder if I can move that engine back at all. Yeah, I don't think I have the room for that. Maybe I could cheat and just hope that people don't look closely. Let's move it back, say, 10 centimeters? I mean, this is completely 100% cheating. That was the wrong way. Wait, that does actually still line up. The drive shafts are still good. Okay, I think the drive shafts are always going to stay there. The only problem is this is now an issue, but that does fit in there. You could easily move this engine-based stuff around. I think I'm going to stick with it. How does it drive and turn now? That would be the biggest issue. Headlights come off. Yeah, it's still not that good. I could also look at how wide the tires can be. I think I remember seeing something about that. Oh god, it's somewhere in here though. I think it's saying 15-inch wide tires? That seems insane. You know what? That's only 380 millimeter. Hold on. Yeah, 381. So 380 wheels. This is only up to 275. Okay, we can go much wider than these spindly little things. But then again, probably 12 inches is as wide as we're gonna get. I might have to make a custom wheel and tire. This is ridiculous. I mean, there are some 14-inch wide wheels, but not really for track racing, per se. That's looking pretty good. 345s? Okay, I think that's probably as good as we're gonna get, but it works. Wait. Do I not have the 15 by 12 option here on the front? Aww, that's lame. I suppose my only option is to make duplicates of that and make it a, yeah, this is, and now, abracadabra, there you go. Nope, that one is right. Come on, hell yeah. I think we could also do with like a stiffer rear and softer front sway, to help move that traction forwards. And I'm thinking also maybe a little bit of toe out on the rear, which would allow us to get a little bit of oversteer when accelerating out. And we also do have wheel offset, so let's turn that up. And what do we have? That's looking pretty decent. I didn't lower it though. Really slow off the line, and then okay, that is actually feeling a lot more lively now. I think I have a lot more work to do right now, but after a little bit of work, I'll come back tomorrow and I'll do the hot lap. Hopefully this turns out nice and tasty. Yeah, that exhaust also needs to go.
You get the idea.
Okay. Overnight, I did a lot of polishing of the mod, and I got what I think will be a good tune once we get into the rig, because it's a one-finger drift vehicle now. See? One-finger drifter. So, let's get that rig. Before we start though, I just want to point out one little thing. I didn't notice that this wasn't turned up to 100%, so I'm an idiot. And we're gonna be in sequential mode. Shifting is not working. Oh, do I have to? Seems that I have to use my shifter, which is just out of reach. Oh, okay. You know what? I don't think that shifter is gonna work. Jesus. Okay. I just did a quick little recalibration. And, oh god, okay, I slowed the game down. The force feedback is like 10 times better. Holy cow, this is amazing. Why didn't I do this in the first place? I mean, I'm just doing a little bit of practice right now, so I'm not doing the actual lap. So I'm gonna go back to just, I'll show you the proper lap when I've practiced. Okay. I've done a few little laps of practice. I've not actually completed one fully, but I wanted to give it a go before my arms completely die. Maybe 100% force feedback on an R9 is not great, so I think actually a 9 Newton meter, I underestimated it. Mostly because the Pinhouse software was deliberately automatically set to 50%, which I think is a huge mistake. This thing is so much better. So thank you to, I think there was like 3 different people in my comments that were like, why'd you leave it on 50%? Because I didn't look. So one of the things that you have to keep in mind about this vehicle is it has so much traction and it's so brutal, but that's not due to downforce, so you still have to brake really far back. The other thing I did is I also got rid of the dead zone on the steering wheel. That was apparently also a mistake. There we go. Okay, powering through. God, I love lasagna Seika. Come on. There we go, there we go. I hope that this track doesn't get shut down. I know that there's a lot of legal trolling happening by some despicable individuals. I mean, who moves next to a racetrack and then asks for it to be shut down? We're gonna be like, if it wins, we're gonna see a lot less of the corkscrew, which is so disappointing. Come on, okay, here we go, here we go. Brake, turn in. And accelerate fully through. It's actually just a really well-balanced car with a wheel. With the controller, it's a very brutal oversteering car. Oh, I locked up. That would leave flat. Oh, I hit the slowdown button. I really got to rebind that. Because this is so much stronger now. Okay, here we go. Across the line, a 1:33. That's a pretty good time. Wow, okay, this is already showing it's my second fastest car. Where does this actually sit? Whoa, okay. It turns out that this is the second fastest car I have ever had. That is amazing. The only thing that beat it was literally rocket boosters, driven by an absolute madman. This is not even that amazing of a car. It's got okay downforce for a race car, for a road car, way too much downforce. And the power is, what, 600 horsepower? I mean, that's supercar levels. Race car levels are kind of that or higher even. It's not light, though I did reduce the weight. Hold on. Yeah, it's now 1,200 kilos. And yep, the headlights, yeah, and put those away. So that's an astonishing time. All-wheel drive is just faster, and that's why the Audi only lost because of poor management. Otherwise, the car was absolutely dominant. And now my arms are really tired. Now, I will admit, yes, all-wheel drive is faster, but not maybe as exciting because it makes it so much easier to recover from any sort of mistake that you make while racing. And I think that that's a part of the reason as to why most racing federations out there, or groups or whatever, usually ban all-wheel drive for track racing. It's just... It's a tricky one. I think that there's a lot more technique that goes into just rear-wheel drive. I mean, even heck, to a front-wheel drive, because there's like interesting lines that you have to take and whatnot. I do love it, but I think I'm going to stick to two-wheel drive because it's so much more tricky to set up a rear-wheel drive car. There's more of an art to it. It takes more skill, and I think I like that, even if I do suck at driving. But you know what doesn't suck, however? Well, that would be my channel members, and that specifically includes the Rogue Tech, the Grey Old Priest, who is a top-tier channel member. And as we wind out, I hope you guys do enjoy me taking this around what is pretty much the Laguna Seca, sorry, not Laguna Seca, the Daytona 24-hour ring setup? Layout, that's the one.